Series 2, EP2, The King of Pride, Leviathan. This is the deep dive. In the last video, we identified Leviathan as the source of gaslighting. Now, we are going to dissect exactly how this spirit operates in a conversation so your audience can stop thinking they are crazy. The core red pill realization here is, you aren't losing the argument because you're wrong. You're losing because you're fighting a demon that feeds on your frustration. 1. High-stakes packaging. Target audience, people trapped in word salad conversations who feel like they are banging their head against a wall. Title, The Leviathan Spirit, Why You Can Never Win an Argument with a Narcissist. Alternative, Gaslighting is Spiritual, Exposing the Leviathan Spirit. Job 41. Thumbnail. Text, It's a Trap, or The Twisting Serpent. Visual, a close-up of a person screaming in frustration while the other person, the narcissist, has a calm, smug smile. But the shadow of the narcissist is a twisting sea serpent. Script, the Leviathan spirit exposed the hook, the frustration. Visual, host looking exhausted, maybe rubbing temples. Have you ever had an argument that went in a complete circle? You started talking about their behavior. Maybe they were late or they were rude. But 30 minutes later, you are the one apologizing, you are the one crying, and you are the one labeled as crazy or overly sensitive. You walked in with facts and you walked out confused. Psychology calls this gaslighting and Darvo, deny, attack, reverse victim and offender. But the Bible calls this Leviathan. Today, we are going to open the book of Job, chapter 41, and read the spiritual profile of the entity that is currently destroying your sanity. If you are tired of losing every single argument, you need to understand who or what you are actually talking to. The anatomy of Leviathan, the scales, visual, text on screen. Job 41:15, the scales. Let's look at the anatomy of this spirit. Job 41:15 says of Leviathan, his scales are his pride, shut up together as with a close seal. One is so near to another that no air can come between them. This is the most accurate description of a narcissist ever written. The scales represent their defense mechanisms. Why can't you get through to them? Why does logic bounce off? Because no air can come between them. Air represents spirit, truth, and breath. When you try to bring air, truth into the relationship, the Leviathan spirit tightens its scales. It is hermetically sealed. This is why they cannot take accountability. To admit a fault would be to open a scale, and Leviathan's primary job is to protect the ego, the pride, at all costs. Stop trying to pierce the scales with your words. Job 41:26 says, the sword of him that layeth at him cannot hold. Your earthly weapons, your logic, your tears, your texts, are useless against this armor. The tactic, the twisting. Visual, text on screen, Isaiah 27:1, the twisting serpent. In Isaiah 27:1, Leviathan is called the crooked serpent or the twisting serpent. This is the spirit of distortion. Have you noticed how they twist your words? You say, I'm hurt that you didn't call. Leviathan twists it too. Oh, so I have to check in with you every second. You're so controlling. See the twist. The conversation shifts from their neglect to your character. This spirit creates a whirlpool. It spins the conversation faster and faster until you lose your footing. The goal of the twisting is to make you dizzy. When you are dizzy, you are weak. And when you are weak, Leviathan strikes. If you find yourself explaining the same thing 50 times in different ways, you are caught in the coils of the twisting serpent. The root, king of pride. Visual, text on screen. Job 41:34, king of pride. So why do they do this? Is it insecurity? Job 41:34 gives the final diagnosis. He beholdeth all high things. He is a king over all the children of pride. Leviathan is the king of pride. This is why the narcissist must always win. They must always be the victim or the hero. They can never be the villain. This spirit demands worship. It demands that you submit to its reality. When you disagree with a narcissist, you aren't just having a difference of opinion. You are committing blasphemy against their false god, themselves. That is why the rage is so disproportionate. You challenged the king. The solution, don't hook the jaw. Visual, host creates distance with hands. Calm authority. Job 41:1 asks a sarcastic question. Canst thou draw out Leviathan with an hook? The answer is no. You cannot play games with this spirit. You cannot fix it. So, how do you defeat Leviathan? 1. You stop feeding it. Leviathan feeds on your reaction. It feeds on the drama. When you jade, justify, argue, defend, explain, you are feeding the monster. 2. You refuse to enter the water. When the twisting starts, you step out of the pool. You say, I'm not going to discuss this while we are yelling. and you walk away. 3. You pray for God to break the heads. Psalm 74:14 says God breaks the heads of Leviathan in pieces. This is a job for God, not you. Your job is to get safe. God's job is to deal with the monster. End. The hook for next week. Audio. Leviathan attacks your mind, but the next spirit we are discussing attacks your life source. Next week, we are exposing the Python spirit, the entity that squeezes your finances, your health, and your prayer life until you have nothing left. If you've felt suffocated lately, you can't miss the next video. Subscribe and hit the bell. This is spiritual warfare, and we are just getting started. Ready to move to episode 3, the Python spirit, the financial and spiritual suffocator.